Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. So there's a photo doing the round since the weekend, which might just be thick racist fail of the year. So how did a group of Islamophobes manage to make themselves look so ridiculous? And what does this tell us about the state of political debates these days? But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So this is part of the photo which has been attracting a bit of attention in the past few days. It's a group of men, which I'll show you more completely in a moment, posing around a banner which reads "Ban the Burqa March London." Now, I'm guessing it's from this weekend's Festival of Thick Racism, but the timing makes no difference to my point. Now, the source of ridicule here is not so much what's on the banner. That's just a prop. I mean, there are sound reasons to object to the concept of the burqa. The entire premise, which hails from very socially conservative patriarchal societies, is that women should hide their feminine forms so that men do not have their passions inflamed and rape them. It's basically putting responsibility for sexual assault onto women, and there is much to criticise there. But banning a garment is a big step when the answer could be better social education. Also, knowing what we know about the attitudes towards women of these groups of men, I'm going to be cynical and suggest they're not doing it out of a sense of respect for their sisters. But what's really remarkable about this image is the more complete photo. Half a dozen of the men posing are wearing face coverings. One of them seems to have fashioned at least half a burqa from a flag. Now, the reason they're doing this is obvious enough. They're not doing anything illegal, so they don't have to hide their identities from the police, so they must be wanting to hide their identities from their families or friends or work colleagues. Basically, their mums wouldn't be happy if they knew what they were doing. They're trying to lead a double life, like a shit Batman. But whatever their reasons, what's clear is they have no objections to wearing face coverings in public. Even the men posing not wearing them have no objections because they're happily posing alongside some men who are wearing them. Which means they cannot possibly have a considered reason for wanting to ban such coverings for others. At which point was the real reason behind their fervour. I mean, at least one of them has paid money to have that banner made. It's professionally printed, right? It's not a half-hour doodle on a piece of cardboard. Someone has gone to effort and money for their cause here. Yet, they clearly have no intellectual objection to public coverings if they'll happily pose with people wearing them unironically. So what's going on? Well, one clue would come in an in-depth BBC article on just how screwed America is over the Charlie Kirk murder. They point to a couple of reasons why it's not in the interests of politicians to appeal to the centre ground, which is much more usual political movement. One is gerrymandering, and the other, which is also common in the UK and everywhere else, is that outrage gets clicks in the media. Basically, emotion drives more engagement than logic. These men have not come to a reasoned conclusion here, which is why I describe this as thick racist fail of the year. To a logical person, the juxtaposition between their banner and their attire is cartoonishly ridiculous. Mate, you look silly. But these men are not thinking about their cause, they're feeling it. Emotion is more powerful than logic. Let's take a more general look at the problem. So if you've always believed that elections are won by the candidate or the party with the most compelling arguments, the most robust policies, or the clearest vision, the old buzzword around here, I've got bad news for you. None of those matter. Think about the last major election we followed in the US presidential race. So I saw a report that 87% of televised ad minutes contained zero policy. Zero. What were they filled with then? Pure emotional signals. They were designed to make you feel, not make you think. And it's not just anecdotal. In controlled lab studies, when people are presented with contradictory facts about their preferred candidate, hard evidence that goes against their established beliefs, something interesting happens. When they do the old brain scans, it's not the reasoning centres of the brains that light up, it's the emotional centres. This isn't just influencing votes, it's winning them outright. It's why outrage farming is so successful on social media, even on platforms like this, which aren't run by far-right nepo babies. Now, that's not to say there aren't channels which appeal to logic which do very well, or that sometimes outrage attempts fall flat. There are some creators who are just very good at getting through to people, make their content very watchable, very entertaining, and appealing to their intellects at the same time. And there are outrage farmers who are just bad at it. But by and large, political content on YouTube gets views inversely proportionally to the amount of logic contained within. So why does your brain seem to prefer these emotional detours? Well, let's start with a fundamental truth about our grey matter. It loves shortcuts, right? And why wouldn't it? Political issues are very complex, sprawling, often interconnected in ways that would make a chess grandmaster's head spin. Seriously, who amongst the general population has got the bandwidth, the time, or even the inclination to calculate the long-term economic impact of like every tariff tweak, every proposed healthcare reform, every environmental regulation? It's an impossible task, right? Even with the best intentions. Our brains, being incredibly efficient machines, recognize this cognitive overload. So what does it do? It delegates. It hands off the heavy lifting to emotion, fear, hope, anger, pride. They're not just fleeting sensations. They're very powerful cognitive tools. Basically, we've got two main parts of our brain when it comes to decisions. There's the really advanced part, thing that sets us up above the monkeys. Brilliant at analysis. Oh, it's absolutely superb. But it takes a very long time to work anything out. This is like the Douglas Adams deep thought part of our brain. Yes, I can come up with an answer, but I'll have to think about it. The second is the lizard brain, which comes up with very quick decisions. Very bad decisions, but very quick ones. Absolutely essential for our evolution. Like, you can't be spending 3 hours working out the best escape route when faced with a sudden saber-toothed tiger, right? Your lizard brain takes over and says, leg it immediately, and it just sort of hopes you don't run into a tree. And it's for that reason that lizard brain is more powerful than deep thought brain, because it has to take over for your survival. Neuroscientists have got a term for this incredibly effective mental bypass, the affective shortcut. Hardwired into all of us, a survival mechanism honed over millennia. You know, again, go back to our ancestors. Bush Russells. You haven't got time to conduct a peer-reviewed study on local wildlife patterns. Oh, well, what's the probability that it's alive? What's the probability it's the wind? Right? No, your brain has to make a snap decision. Fear, or the absence of it, provides that instant decision. Do you run or do you go, it's probably just the wind? In today's political jungle, same ancient mechanism is still at play, making snap judgments based on gut feelings, not careful deliberation, no matter what we think. It's a powerful tool, but in the context of complex governance, it can be a double-edged sword. I mean, let's talk about confirmation bias, right? But imagine it's chugging Red Bull, right, and running a marathon. This isn't your racist grandpa's confirmation bias. This is confirmation bias on emotional steroids. We don't just cherry pick data anymore. We cherry pick vibes. Once a candidate or a party or a political narrative makes you feel understood or validated or part of something bigger, your brain locks in. That explains a great deal of what happened at the weekend. It's like your favourite sports team, right? Your favourite football team. Once you got that shirt on, every story, every piece of information is filtered through the lens of defending your team. Your brain treats every bit of news like a loyal friend defending another friend, even if that friend is objectively wrong. There was a 2022 Stanford study that brought light to this in a very stark way. Researchers found that when partisans read policy positions attributed to their own party, the empathy regions of their brain fired up like a Christmas tree. But here's the thing. This happened even if the policy was actually drafted by the opposition party. The actual content of the policy was secondary to who was proposing it. The emotional team shirt, once donned, had already won. Logic never stood a chance against that kind of ingrained emotional loyalty and tribal affiliation. And like I say, that was essential for our survival as like hunter-gatherers. It's essential that lizard brain is more powerful than deep thought brain. It's not about what's true, it's about what feels true, especially when it aligns with our group identity. This isn't just about agreeing with your side, it's about actively feeling for your side, even when the facts might suggest otherwise. Politicians, consciously or not, are amateur neuroscientists, or they need to be. They understand that fear and hope are the twin turbos of human motivation. Fear, ancient alarm system, narrows your options down to the most primal responses, fight or flight. And politicians, unfortunately, the good ones, are very adept at weaponizing it. Slogans like, they're coming for your guns, or they'll ban abortion nationwide. They're not designed to invite debate or nuanced discussion. They're designed to shove complexity into a dark corner because they know people don't have time for it, right? It creates an immediate visceral threat that demands an urgent, very often emotional response. The goal is to trigger that fight or flight mechanism, making you feel that only one path, their path, offers salvation. Hope, on the other hand, does the exact opposite. It widens the tunnel, it illuminates a brighter future, and it makes you want to move towards it. Remember Barack Obama's iconic "Yes, we can." That wasn't a policy, was it? There was no detail in that. Yes, we can what? There were a few specifics. There were no detailed blueprints, but it was a dopamine-heavy call to action. Dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, good boy, pat on the head, makes us feel good, makes us feel motivated, optimistic. It fuels our belief in a better tomorrow, encourages us to act on that belief. Whether it's the panic-inducing fear or the exhilarating rush of hope, the outcome's often the same. You know, the amygdala, our brain's emotional alarm center, it effectively hijacks the prefrontal cortex, which is the seat of rational thought and decision making. The ballot box in these moments ceases to be a place for reasoned choice. It becomes a feelings box, where our deepest anxiety or loftiest aspirations dictate our cross in the box. Modern politics isn't about policies. It's group identity strapped to a rocket. When a candidate, through their rhetoric, their background, or their perceived values, signals that they are one of us, the emotional reward is instant and very potent. It's not just a casual affiliation, it's a deep tribal connection. I mean, you think about it, BrainScan shows that the same dopamine hit you get when your favourite sports team wins a championship is triggered when your political tribe achieves a victory or is affirmed in some way. This isn't about policy accuracy, is it? It's about belonging, shared identity, the comfort and affirmation of being part of a collective. And of course, because of the explosion of mainstream media and social media channels, people can be getting these emotionally driven dopamine hits 24/7. There's enough new content being pumped out to keep you hooked up for as long as you need affirmation. And because emotion is more appealing than logic, it completely floods the zone. You end up with blokes saying they want to ban the burqa. Why? Because you shouldn't be hiding your face in public, innit? Oh yeah. But let me know what you think in the comments below. And for more content, you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.